Now, folks, how you doing? Clark Stetson here. Let me get in frame. I'm actually, using the iPhone. Now, normally I have a professional HD camera in front of me, but they're using that right now in a piece about a retirement home, so that's more important. Old folks are more important than younger folks. In local news, this is my son's practice space, actually. He's in a band called, you might have heard of them, Satellite 69. They do covers of Everclear, 311, and I'm forgetting one. Oh, Blues Traveler. So they run the gamut. Bach, Beethoven, Radiohead, and everything in between. Now, in local news, a recent onslaught of bizarre frog pictures brought Instagram users to their knees, rocking the social media giant's servers last Tuesday in a barrage thought to be an attempt by Russians to shrink American men's penises. I call them like I read them, folks. The station sends these over. That's the coming off the wire there, out of Reuters News. Now, I ran into Gary Buhner. He's the guy that used to do the sports, let me fix the camera here, the Sports Sunday Roundup for us on WJZ5. He said, he said, Clark, when are you going to cut the hair? I said, I'm not going to do it till they come up with a cure or a vaccine. I guess there's no cures for these things. Viruses go on and on, like our ever-expanding universe. I have a theory about that. I think we're the ones that are moving. And the universe is still. We're moving fast, backwards. In so many ways. A recent Twitter storm has befallen a 41-year-old Baltimore news legend who has, in the past week, experienced a 70% drop in his followers after posting the apparently controversial statement on Twitter, "God, I hate Pink Floyd." The man, who wishes to remain anonymous, finds it sad that sworn allies have skedaddled into the hedgerows of cowardice, holding their tear-stained Dark Side of the Moon foamy thumbs as protection against the truth. Yeah, sounds like that guy is pretty cool. But folks, it's really great to be down here in the practice room with you. It feels intimate, like I'm having you over as a guest in my room. Well, it's not my room, I did sleep down here last night. There was stuff that happened. It's a tough time for all of us. Okay, now on a personal note, last week I, like many folks, sought part-time employment to supplement my income. Now, I mean, this is something we're all going through. I landed on a gig as a park ranger, and this was it was pretty interesting, pretty swell job. My jobs included feeding the horses, clearing the brush from trails, and picking up strange transparent balloons from off the ground. I found these things everywhere, and I'll tell you, the guy that made these is an idiot because people like colorful balloons. They don't like clear balloons with liquid inside of them. What's that all about? Good luck with that. I guess a sucker is born every minute on both sides of that coin. Now, folks, this is not the way that I learned in broadcast school at SUNY Brockport, where I went to school, graduated with honors. This is a bit more piecemeal here, one piece at a time, just like the Johnny Cash song. If you've ever heard it, it's a great song of his, where he works in a car factory and over the course of about 10 years or so, collects different pieces each day he goes to work of different cars, creating this amalgamation, monstrous, weird vehicle and drives off into freedom. It's a metaphor for America, perhaps. In more local news, the wife and I have begun to rent out our above-ground pool to elderly folks in the neighborhood so that they may practice water aerobics in a comfortable, cool, and clean environment just 5 feet above the mouth of a giant frog who sucks off clothes. They truly are the greatest generation. Roger, what is this? The news, they send me stuff, and, but I'm supposed to be objective, so I guess there's a frog doing that in my house. Now, folks, as a lot of you know, I do love baseball, and I started out, oddly enough, when I was like about 5 or 6, I was a Yankees fan. I lived in New York, where, you're born into it. But then I was converted into a Dodgers fan by my third grade teacher, because this was 1988, Oral Hershiser, Tommy Lasorda, Ultra Slim Fast and all that jazz. But then I became a San Francisco Giants fan when my stepdad married my mom, and then I moved here and became an Orioles fan. And on that note, in sports, baseball analysts say that after calculating every major league team schedule, the Baltimore Orioles have for once come out on top as the team most likely to be pulverized into the 5th level of hell with a docket of destruction, pitting them against the game's toughest teams with a roster not seen since the impromptu softball tournament at last year's Juggalo Fest. I guess that's to say that our roster is rather interesting. What is a Juggalo again? Roger, what's a Juggalo? Something to do with juggling. There's nothing wrong with Fago. Huh? Oh, the set's moving. What's that, son? Charcoal? We don't need charcoal. Just tear up those old wooden crates from IKEA. Charcoal's expensive. We're trying to save money. And in space news, what's that in the sky? Is it a truant 4th of July firework? Or is it a once-in-a-lifetime chance to witness the majesty of nature's splendor in the form of Comet Newsom, which turned out to be, according to reports, a bathroom camera on its way to a Panera Bread in Ithaca, New York? Oh. So, fellas, turn down the Pornhub. Vlad's a-watching. We'll see you next week. Ah!